So, when I was doing some research on some of the current drugs that are being used in my Kentucky middle and high school, which is in Todd County, I think that the drug that I saw the most use of is the weed pen. It seems that students are getting a lot of easy access to this kind of thing. I spoke with some of the counselors at the middle and high school because I am at the elementary school, and they said that these were the kind of things that they were seeing the most of. They were seeing the students bring in the weed pens. Um, and as you get to this slide, you can see that there's a lot of different names for them. The drug name, of course, would be the vaporized cannabis. It's also known as the weed pen, the dab, marijuana pen, Benjamin, wax pen. Those are some of the things that they're seeing and hearing at the middle and high school in my school district. How is vaporized cannabis consumed? The vaporized cannabis is consumed by inhaling the vapor produced when concentrate is heated to a specific temperature and then smoked. I think that most of us are pretty aware of how, the vaporized cannabis is consumed. And I think that maybe the young teens don't realize how dangerous it really is to consume this kind of thing, especially if it's like a very, very high level. And I think that I was very unaware of how common it really is. I was kind of in shock of how common these weed pens are in our small school district. How dangerous is this drug? Kind of touched on that in the slide before, but I think that we know that this drug is dangerous. And I think even some of the young teens that are using this, they know it's dangerous, but they want to be seen as cool. Inhaling the cannabis, it can cause damage to lungs and throat. It contains the compounds that are similar to tobacco smoke, and the THC concentrates can be more dangerous because a small amount can have the same amount as a joint or something more powerful. And I think that that's something that these teens are so naive about. They don't realize how dangerous this really could be. Some of the facts for parents, I think it's important for them to realize that these vaporized cannabis, these weed pens, are very easy to conceal because of the types of devices that it can be smoked in. I was speaking with my school counselor at the elementary level, and she had just attended a meeting where they had shown some of the different devices that these things are appearing in. They've got some that look like pens, and look like highlighters, USB drives. Some of them are attached to a smartphone case. They can be hidden in lipstick cases. And they were even saying that since they have to walk through metal detectors at the high school, the kids have gotten smart enough to put the weed pen into their water bottle so that then it doesn't detect it because they're like, oh, this is just a water bottle. This isn't anything. So it's crazy how smart the kids are to make sure they're so sneaky that they can get past these kind of things in school. Also, just another thing for parents, I don't think they realize that the brain development that these things can interfere with. Another thing that my counselor mentioned was some of the parents don't care. They're like, yeah, I know they vape. What's it to me? And it's just like, that's a little hard for me to hear as a counselor. It's hard for me to realize, oh, they don't even care that they vape. It's also difficult to detect because there's a little odor and the vapor dissipates very quickly. The facts for counselors, I think they're kind of the same. Just being aware of how rampant this drug is in our school district and how much it can affect our students, the way that these serious long term effects can be, and the methods of concealment for these drugs. It's so, so sneaky the way that they can do this. And I think it's important for counselors to be aware of that kind of thing. There were some pictures of it, and I think that we're all very aware of this. I think this is a very common drug that is being abused. But like how I mentioned before, I was just, I guess, more naive. I was shocked to see that there was so much being used in my small district. I was just shocked to realize that. And then just the ease of access to drugs, or to this drug specifically, I think it's very easy for young adults, teenagers to get their hands on this because it's everywhere. And in some states it is legalized, but that's for the more the medical purposes. And I think that that's something that we can understand because it can help that. But when you're just abusing it and using it recreationally and just taking advantage of it, I think that that's where these kids don't understand what they're doing. And they're buying it from friends, from strangers. So it could have anything in it. And I think that's something important that we need to emphasize how dangerous getting these things are in the first place, but then buying them from people that you have no idea of. I think that looking forward as a counselor, this is something to really consider how to help students realize the dangers that are truly, truly out there. So, yeah, that was some of the stuff that I gathered from my small town, my small school district to what is being used out there.